Hey, in this video we will continue our code experiment series where we try to change things from the code and see how the output changes. So that gives you more understanding about how the code works. For this, I will create a new folder directory, experiments, and then inside here I'll just create a Python file. So the first experiment I wanted you to try is to just say while true and then print anything here, such as hello, the string hello. Now if I right click here and run this script, what I'll get is hello printed out all the time, repeatedly. So nothing is stopping my computer from printing out this string over and over again. So why is hello printed out all the time? That's the first question. Well, it is being printed out because this is always true. So nothing is stopping this line from being executed over and over again. In the bonus example video, which comes later today, you will see that we can write conditions which will change the behavior of the while loop. So these conditions will control how many times the while loop executes. But this loop here doesn't have such dynamic conditions. So the next question is, how many times is this hello printed out? And the answer is, well, depends on your computer processor speed. So this would be about every X milliseconds or so, depending how able your processor is to receive the instructions and return the output. Another experiment. So let me put here the code that we wrote during the video tutorials earlier. This is the exact code that we have built so far in our app. Now, what would happen if we get this line and paste it inside the while loop? To cut a line in PyCharm, you can set the cursor anywhere in the line, and then in your keyboard, press Ctrl X or Command X. That will cut the line, and then you go here, make a new line and press Ctrl V or Command V, and that will place the line in there. So now the question is this version better, or was that version with that line there better than this one? If you run this version of the code, it will work the same. So nothing is changing, but is it still a good way to program like this? The answer is no. And that is because it is not necessary to have the variable declaration inside the while loop. So this variable declaration will be executed multiple times because it is inside a loop, and that is not necessary. So that will simply make your program heavier. Even though a variable declaration does not occupy heavy resources, it's still not the best practice to program like this. So we only have to declare the string once. Therefore, I'll just put it where it was here. You don't need to execute that line multiple times. You only put in the while loop things that will be executed in cycles. Another experiment. Try to change capitalize with title and run the program and see how the output changes. Enter a to-do. Clean the room and see what we got. Clean the room with the first letter of each word capitalized. So the capitalize method only capitalized the first letter of the string, so only C was capitalized in the string, but the title method finds all the words and capitalizes their first letters. So that's just another method of strings. And now you might ask, how do you know all these methods? Well, I'll answer you that question today in the programming tool of the day. So in that video later today, I'll show you the secret on how to find the least of all methods that you can apply to strings and other objects. So stay tuned for that video. Two more small experiments. If you remove print and you just say todo.title, as you might guess, if you enter a to-do, you will not get any output because the print function is not there. So let's get the print function back and do our last experiment. If you remove these two parentheses here, the parentheses of the title method, if you remove that and you run the script, you clean the room, and what you get is this output. So this is simply saying that this is a method. But in order to get the output that a method generates, you need to use those parentheses. So these are always necessary. Keep that in mind, and thank you for following the code experiments for today. See you in the next videos.